Right, in Aqidah we're talking about hell today. Yes? Now, hell is a place, again, which is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there should be no doubts that it is created. Now, just as heaven is created, but it represents the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hell represents the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His anger. And whatever you can understand in regards to punishment and things like this, or even ni'mah on the other side, for heaven we said, if you get an image of any blessing, the highest blessing you can think of, then in heaven, the blessings you're going to receive, they are going to be greater. Now, the opposite of it is, the worst type of punishment that you can think of in this dunya, then the punishment in hell is a lot worse than what you can think of. Okay. So here we're going to mention some of the things, the types of punishments that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. But he's only mentioning them so that you can take lessons from them and learn from them. So in Hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said regarding that person who seeks security away from hell, that hell itself says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, "Oh my Lord, he is seeking protection from me, grant him protection." So it's a sign as well for us that when we should seek protection from the hellfire. And then in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said many times to protect yourselves from the hellfire. Yes, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, "Qu anfusakum," protect yourselves and your family from the fire, i.e. hellfire. So it's not just protecting yourselves, it's also protecting your families. "Qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara," that protect yourselves and your family from the hellfire. So you have a duty. In many verses of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about that you should be scared of hell. And our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam, just to teach us something as a lesson, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is infallible, he can't sin. Yes? So just to teach us a lesson, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would seek protection from hell, and many times a day. The flames of hell are going to be very, very high. High as castles. And they seem like they're a line of camels, the way they're going to be. Going to be high, and like you have red camels. If you line up a herd of camels, yes, and just one after the other, isn't it? Then the flames of hell are like that. And the fuel of the hellfire is humans and stones. Humans we can understand, can't we? Yes? Why? Why humans? Why are humans this fuel? They're the people that are going to be punished, aren't they? Yes? So that's why they're the fuel. But why stones? What have stones done? Huh? Yeah, idols. He refers to those idols. So whoever worshipped an idol in the dunya, then his idol will go with him. Yes? But then that idol cannot help him, can it? Now the worldly fire that you have, this is only a small percentage of the fire of hell. If you were to split the fire of hell into 70 parts, then this will be the 70th part. Yes? The 70th part. Meaning it's nothing then, is it? Compared to. So if you think of the sun is probably the hottest thing in our galaxy. Now, whatever degrees it can get to, that is only a 70th of the fire of hell. Yes? So hell is very hot. You can pack your bags. Now the person who will have the lowest type of punishment in hell is such that he'll be made to wear like hellish shoes. Yes? Prada devil shoes or something. Okay? Which will be made out of fire. But when he wears them, his brain will boil. Yes? His brain will boil because of it. Balki, not just boil, it will start to melt. And that person going through this low type of azab will think this is the worst azab in hell. He will be thinking that it's the worst type of azab in hell. But yet it will be the lowest type of azab, lowest type of punishment. Now the person who has the lowest type of punishment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to him that if you had all of the world, would you hold it in ransom to free yourself from this? He will answer yes. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will then say, when you were not even created, i.e. you were in the back of the humankind, before you were born, we had already given a command which was easier than what you would give right now. Meaning you're ready to take on and conquer all of the world. Yes? You're ready to conquer now all of the world, and then after you've conquered it, you will hold that to ransom to free yourselves from this punishment. But before this, before you were born, I had given a command which was really easy. And what was that command? Just don't disbelieve. Don't do shirk. Just don't be a kafir. That's it. Just remain Muslim, don't be a kafir, and remain Muslim. That's the command that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave. But you never did this. So which was easier? Conquering the world, taking into your control, and then holding that as ransom to free your own self from the hellfire, or when you came into the world, all you had to do was just become Muslim. Which one's easier? Becoming a Muslim is easier, isn't it? Because all it takes you to is just say with your mouth, yes, I accept Islam. And that's it. That's all it is. The fire of hell was burnt for 100 years to a point it became red. Did I say 100? 1,000. Okay. For 1,000 years till it became red. Then for another 1,000 years until it became white. Then another 1,000 years until it became black. Pure black, that is. Blacker than oil. Crude oil. Now, and that's the state it is in now. Yes? So, you understand the stages of fire now? What color is the sun? Red? Yellow? Pink? What color is the sun? Yeah, it's yellowish, isn't it? Yes, yellowish. And that was like the second, it's reddish rather, isn't it? Red, yellow you got here. So that's like the first stage, isn't it? That's like the first stage. The second stage was missed out because fire turns blue. Yes? When it heats up really quick, then it turns blue. But this fire went to white. White fire. Okay. And then after that it turned black. So it shows that this fire in its heat is greater than the sun. Yes. And fire normally gives out light, doesn't it? Because it's burning that color, reddish, yellowish color. The fire of hell gives out no light. Yes? The fire of hell gives off no light. Light is sometimes a savior. No savior in hell. What did light do to be in hell?
Is that the point of it?
Huh?
Is that the point of it?
That's the point of it.
It's just darkness.
Darkness, isn't it? Meaning, you always say, I see the light. So light is like a savior sometimes. But in hell, there will be no saviors. Not in hell. Outside of hell, there might be saviors. People who make dua for you, who intercede for you. They might be able to help you. But in hell, there isn't. Sayyidina Jibreel ala nabina wa alayhi salatu wasalam took an oath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then mentioned this to the Prophet sallallahu ta'ala wasallam. That if from hell the size of a needle's head was just to open up, then the heat that would come out of that hole, that small hole, if you have a needle and you just make a hole, how big is that hole going to be? Not much. Sayyidina Jibreel took an oath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and said to the Prophet that if such a hole was to be put inside hell, the heat that would come out of that small hole towards the dunya, people will die just by the heat of it. People would die just by the heat of that, of the heat of hell, of the fire of hell. Then he took another oath and he said that if a warden, if you like, the caretakers of hell, if they were to appear for the dunya, if they were to appear in the dunya, then all of the people on this earth would die by fright. Just by looking at them, they would die. Yes. I mean, that's how scary they will be. The haiba, the awe that they will have upon people will be such. And when somebody scares you, what happens? Shock? Shock is that, are you there? What happens? Sisters will know. What happens when somebody scares you? Huh? Yeah? Your heart sinks, doesn't it? When your heart sinks, it's just that's not shock, by the way, that's just like a fright. You're in a state of being scared, so your heart sinks. And there's a saying, isn't it? I've missed a beat. Yeah, or something like that they say. Yeah, my heart skipped a beat. And that's the truth. Your heart really does skip a beat. It stops for a second because you've just got that fright. The truth is here, if you were to see these wardens, yes, they will give you such a fright that your heart completely stops. And by this oath he also said, that the chains that the wardens of hell will have, I don't know if warden is the right word, but just for example's sake, if only a circle of it, chains be like in circles done, if only a circle, one ring of it, or the chain of it, was to be placed upon the mountains of this dunya, those mountains will start shaking. Not shaking. Shaking. Yes. Meaning, that's how heavy they are. That's how heavy they are. Put in perspective, somebody sits on you, you can't bear it. Yes? I mean, take Yokozuna, if you know who he is. Anybody know who Yokozuna is? No? Huh? Yeah, sumo wrestler. Yeah. Yokozuna was a sumo wrestler. Imagine he sat on you. Yes? It's tough, isn't it? Now imagine the chain of this, which is going to be placed upon mountains, and the mountains will start shaking. Mountains were put on the earth as pegs. Why? Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the earth was shaking. Yes? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then placed the mountains. The earth stopped shaking by those mountains. Which shows that is a sign that they're very strong, aren't they? Mountains are very strong. So when the mountains are very strong, that they're holding the whole earth together. Yes? Now, the question is, when this little chain goes onto it, and it's so heavy, that the mountains will not be able to bear it. Now, would we be able to bear it? No. It won't be. What do you call them? Tectonic plates. Yes? You find mountainous areas to be around where those the fault lines are. Yes, on the edges. One goes under and the other one goes on top, and you end up making a mountain. Yes? Where volcanoes and things like this appear. So you see that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed them there in this manner, so that they're holding the earth together. But then in the back we told you as well, on the day of judgment, the earth will be all flat. Not as flat in the other way, as in it'll just be straight, as in one plane, like one field. But still, most likely still be round, but there won't be anything high and low in this. And it'll be so heavy that it'll squash the mountain and bring it into the ground. It'll bring it into the ground.
So is that something that will happen?
No, it's just an example. Yeah, showing that how. Sorry. Now, the fire of this earth makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it does not go to hell. So even fire seeks protection from hellfire. From this you can understand that there doesn't need to be a hell of ice for jinn. Because you might make the objection that jinn are made from smokeless fire. Yes? Now when they're made from smokeless fire, then if the bad ones, when they go into hell, they're going to have a good time, aren't they? Yes? It kind of makes it look like that, doesn't it? But from this you understand that that's not the case. That even the fire of hell will harm them. Even the fire of hell will harm them. So he said, the author says here, it's kind of weird from a human that he only does those things which take him towards hell. And he doesn't fear the hellfire. People fear the fire of the dunya, but then it's odd that they don't fear the fire of hell. The depth of hell only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. But it is said in Hadith Sharif that if you were to throw a stone down it from the top, it would take 70 years to reach the bottom. And you wouldn't reach the bottom. Yes? You wait 70 years and you still wouldn't reach the bottom of hell. Hell seems to be like a well. A bottomless pit.
Will they be stuck or like?
It's not really known how it will be like really. So,
The sukoon,
yeah.
the tree originating from hell,
Yes.
goes
Straight to the top. Yeah. But it's not really known if it's going to be like that. As in, it gives the idea that it's like that, but it's not necessary as well. It could be just a metaphor. Now if you were to get a fireball of hell and throw it towards the earth, meaning a small little fireball, something that you can probably hold in your fingers. If that was thrown towards the earth, before the night would fall, it would reach the earth. Yes? It would reach the earth. Meaning this is how quickly it would reach the earth. That's how, it might be a small portion, but for the how hastily it would reach the earth shows how heavy it is as well. That's how it works, isn't it? Yes? The heavier you are, the quicker you fall, and the harder you fall. Okay? So that's, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. So even something a small portion of it will reach the earth very quickly. Yes? Even though he's saying it's like a 500,000 years distance, or 500 years I think is it, yeah? Then in hell you have different ranks and valleys in there. Some valleys within heaven that hell itself 70 times daily seeks protection. Hell itself 70 times daily seeks protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from those valleys that reside in it. Does that make sense? That there's a valley within hell, that hell itself asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect it.
But isn't the valley part of that?
It shows like the severity of it.
Yes. Look at this, a person who's got illness, he's got cancer. It's inside him, it's part of him, but then he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect him from it. So it's like the cancer of hell. It's severe. Now this is hell itself. Hell seeking protection from hell. Yeah, even hell is scared of hell. But a human being just doesn't care. Now if there was no other type of azab, isn't this sufficient as punishment? If there was no other type of azab, what we just mentioned, isn't this just sufficient? Meaning, let's say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not mention anything, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not mention anything regarding hell, but they just mentioned this one thing, that hell seeks protection from hell. Wasn't this enough as a lesson for us? But because of the kuffar and those people who mess around, yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala carried on mentioning different types of punishment. But they're all to be taken lessons from. Angels will have heavy hammers. That and heavy hammers to such that if you were to gather all humans and jinn, they won't to lift them. That's where the concept of Torah comes from.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah? That's it, isn't it? His hammer nobody can pick it up, can they? Yes?
Should they be worthy?
So,
There's nothing worthy about it.
huh?
He goes, should they be worthy? I go,
What?
There's not much worthy about it.
Sometimes these concepts come from places, don't they? They can't just be born, can they? They are.
Just to, like,
Yes.
follow.
You have to understand that people who make these movies and the stories really aren't there. But there is a concept of them in maybe previous religions or something. Yes. I was reading something the other day regarding Harry Potter. Yes. And like some of the characters that are in there are really based on people who existed. Yes. In history. Yes. Lord of the Rings, yes. Yeah.
Yes,
The Black Panther. I read that actually as well. There was a person in Africa. Yes, I can't remember. I read it a week ago. Does anybody remember it? There was an article on the Black Panther. That there was a Black Panther very long time ago. He wasn't called the Black Panther, but he was that type of person that did that Batman kind of thing. Okay. There's a whole article on that. I remember reading it. So what I was saying was that there's sometimes these type of concepts that come from real places. Yes, and then they just exaggerate on them and make it whatever. But their job is to make people go towards shirk. Our job is to bring them back. Yes? You might not realize it, but these cartoons that you might watch, they have a lot of shirkiyat in them. Yes? And you might not realize because you might just think it's a cartoon. But for kids are kids. Kids are kids.
What about a 30-year-old, 25-year-old?
25. Stick to South Park. Simpsons seems to be more like, what do you call them? People who tell the future. Yes? I mean, if you ever watched Simpsons as a kid, then you realize that they seem to know a lot about the future. We don't want to go down that route. There might be Illuminati in this room. Anyway, back to hell. So this hammer, Thor's hammer, yes, is meaning it's so heavy. Imagine being hit by it. Huh? I mean, look at it this way. What was that UFC fighter's name? McGregor. When you put those gloves on, you couldn't even lift them, really, if the truth be told. Yes? Yes? He couldn't even lift them in his hand. When you see the other boxer, you saw that he was nice with them because that's his profession. But him being a UFC fighter, he's used to those little mitts or whatever you call them. Yes? Now, the problem is that he couldn't lift them. Yes? But the person who can lift it, the other fighter, imagine being hit by him. But you have to look at this in a way, because the object itself is heavy, yes? So it's going to have a force of its own, a weight of its own, isn't it? Then you're going to have the power and the strength and the force of the person using it. Now look at it this way, if you get all of humankind and all of the jinn race together, they cannot lift the hammer. But the angel can lift the hammer. It shows his strength as well, doesn't it? Do you think he's just going to come and do this to you? He's going to swing it, isn't he? That's what you do with the hammer. You swing it. So then with his force, with his strength, and also the strength of the speed that he does it with, yes? And then the weight of the object, imagine being hit by it and what it'll do. Huh? It's difficult, isn't it? I mean, it's very painful. I don't know if you've ever done Muay Thai or something like this. Then you know that when you do the side kicks that we have in Muay Thai, then they always try to tell you that you chop the kick. Yes? You never give a straight kick in Muay Thai. Yes? You don't just kick like that straight. You always make sure that it goes up and then down. But then that hurts, doesn't it? It hurts the other person. Why? Yes. And him. Why? Because the force of gravity takes over as well. I'm just telling you the severity of this. Yes, because these are just minute examples that I'm giving you, and they can hurt. Even if a person is weak, but he does the technique right, and he gets the manner right, it still hurt the other person. Yes, the other person will still feel it. Imagine what this angel is going to do to you.
It's your stance, especially when you're like just hitting someone.
Yes,
When you stand,
the way you stand. So it plays part, doesn't it? It plays part. So imagine when this hammer is thrown at you or is swung at you, how much damage it will do. And even if the angel throws it at you, it ends up back in his hand. You have a Bukhti Unt. Bukhti, camel. Not the Balochistan Bukhti, okay, that's a different guy. The General Pervez Musharraf kill him. A Bukhti camel is like the largest camel you probably find. There'll be, bichu is scorpions, isn't it? Oh, yeah, scorpions. The size of the scorpions will be of those camels. Yes. Even like you have in the movies sometimes where you have got big massive scorpions coming. This is the concept behind it. Okay. In hell that will happen. Now, similarly, there'll be bigger snakes. That if it bites you once, is pain, the harsh feeling which you find, the poison will remain for 1,000 years. For 1,000 years. Now when you boil oil, that's how the water is going to be like. You know, when you boil oil, it starts sparkling, doesn't it? Yes? Water will be like that, and that will be given to drink.
Like tar.
Like tar, yes. it'll become thick. That it'll be so hot that as soon as the person takes it towards his mouth, the face will begin to melt. And this water will be poured over people as well. The same type of water will be poured over people. The white substance, the pus that comes out of the body, yes, and specifically here from the bodies of the people of hell, that will be gathered and given to the people to drink. Yeah. There will be a tree which is a tree which has milk in it, but it's poisonous. It has like a milk type substance in it, but it's poisonous. This will be given to drink as well. And that tree is such that if only one drop of it was to appear in the world, that its effect and its smell will destroy the whole of the world. Everything living in the world, in terms of crops and whatever you have, yes, everything will be destroyed. And if somebody swallows it, it strangles the person's throat. It stops the breathing.
الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
So it'll strangle a person. And that person will then ask for water. And such water will be given, the same water, that when he takes it towards his lips, his face will begin to melt. And as soon as that water goes into the stomach, it will burn all the insides and they'll turn into pieces. And then what will happen is that same water will pour down to his feet and burn him as it goes along. And yet, even though this water is like this, the people of hell will fight over it. Will fight over to drink it. Then what will happen is when the kuffar that are in hell, they obviously they can't do anything, can they? In terms of the punishment, that's going to carry on. So they will gather together and they'll do mashwara. They'll make a council. Yes. So, and they will decide that they need to go to the Malik, i.e. the owner of hell, the angel, Malik. And they'll call him that, "O Malik, that ask your Lord to finish our case now." The angel Malik, he will not reply to them for 1,000 years. He will not reply to them for 1,000 years. And after 1,000 years, he will say, "What do you say to me? Why have you come to me? What do you say to me? Go to the one who you were disobedient to." Then for another 1,000 years, they will call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by His merciful names. For another 1,000 years. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not answer them for 1,000 years. And after 1,000 years, He will say, "Move away or go away. Remain in hell. Don't speak to me." Now at this time, the kuffar will be in a state of hopelessness. And they will cry and scream and speak like donkeys. They will firstly cry tears. When the tears dry up, then blood will come out. And they will cry so much that the tears or the blood will create trenches on their cheeks of constantly crying. And the blood tears and also the pus that may come out of the eyes will be so much that if you were to get ships to sail in it, they'll be able to sail in it. That's how much it'll be. And the faces will be distorted, the people of hell, that is. To such a extent that if a person of hell was to appear in the dunya, or was shown to the people of the dunya, then people would die by just looking at him. And their bodies would be enlarged. Why enlarged? Why would people become big? Anybody know? Huh? Heat?
More punishment, surface area.
Yeah? more the surface area that's affected, the more pain. Yes? Look, you get a little burn on the tip of your finger, it doesn't hurt as much. But if it's the whole finger, then it hurts. So imagine it this way, when a person's body is expanded, then there's more things to burn, which means more pain. Isn't there? Is that right? But they'll be so big that from one shoulder to the other shoulder would be, if you were to get a fast horse, it would take a fast horse to get from one shoulder to the other shoulder 3 days. Those are big shoulders. Okay. And people's jaws would be like the size of Uhud. Uhud's a long mountain. I don't know if you've seen Uhud, but Uhud is not a high mountain, but it's a long mountain, as in it stretches out long. And the skin, the leather, the skin, that will be also enlarged. Yes, it will also be enlarged. Double or triple of what it is. And the tongue will be like a bow, the size of a bow. 1 bow, 2 bows. And it will be coming out of the mouth. To a point it will be coming out in such a way to the ground that people will be walking over his tongue. And when he sits, when he wants to sit, or the place where he sits on, his hips, the size of that would be the distance between Makkah and Medina. How many hours is that? 5 hours? 4? 6? Different type of coaches. So, and the lips, one will be going upwards and one will be going down to the feet. So you understand from this that the people of hell, their faces won't be like human faces. I mean, what we just described now is like something from Spider-Man or something, isn't it? It's not a human face, is it? So, but yet, and this is so that means that their face will be destroyed in this way. So we understand from here is that humans that are going to hell will have a different form. Yeah? But the human form will not enter hell, if that makes sense. Why? Because that is beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's ahsan taqweem, isn't it? That it's established well, if you like. The best form. So because it's the best form, He likes it, He's not exactly going to punish that form, is He? So what's going to happen to the kuffar is that the human face will be distorted. So they don't go into hell with the human face. Yes? Then at the end, what will happen to the kuffar is that he will, the, what do you call it? A casket. Yes? A casket will be brought forward, made out of fire, the same height and everything, and he'll be told and he'll be ordered to go into it and gets locked up in it. And it'll fill with fire. And a padlock made out of fire will be placed upon it. And then this casket will be put into another casket of made out of fire. And then between these two caskets, fire will be lit. And on this second casket, a padlock of fire will be made. And then a third one will be done, and the same thing will be done with the third one. And then when this happens, then every kafir will feel that other than him there's nobody left in the fire. And this is the greatest or the worst type of punishment. And after this punishment will remain. So we'll have different types of azab in this manner. He says at the end over here that when heavenly people enter heaven, and in hell, only those people remain who will always remain in hell. Those people that are just serving the sentence and then they go into heaven, all of them people have been taken out and they're going to heaven. And in hell, only those people are remaining who will remain forever in hell at this time. At this time, between heaven and hell, death will be brought in an image of an animal, like a sheep or a goat. Now the caller will call the people of heaven, and they'll be scared and they'll look towards us, towards hell, in other words. That scared that, that the hukam might come that we have to get out from here. So they'll be scared. Then this munadi, will be an angel, he will call the people of hell. They will happily look towards heaven, thinking that, hope that they're going to go into heaven. Then he will ask, do you recognize this, i.e. the animal that's there? And they will say, yes, it is death. They will recognize it. Death will be slaughtered in front of them. Kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut, isn't it? Yes. And death is something. So it will be slaughtered. Death will gain death. It'll taste death. And then he'll say straight after slaughtering it, O people of heaven, you will remain in heaven forever. There's no death anymore. O people of hellfire, you will remain in hell forever. Death is no more. The people of heaven will rejoice. Rejoice upon rejoice. And the people of hell will fall into sorrow. Sorrow after sorrow. And this is the state that will be on. What happens after that? When you reach that place, then you'll find out. To be continued. So he just writes a dua, Nas'alullah al-afwa wal-afiyata fi ad-deen wa dunya wal-akhirah, that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness and afiyah, relief in the deen, in the dunya and in the hereafter, from all these things that we have just mentioned. But this is just a glimpse. There's a lot more than this that he could have written on. Just a glimpse, but like we said before, when the Prophet ﷺ said that hell seeks repentance from hell or protection from hell, then even something like that should be sufficient for us to learn a lesson from. Yes? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His mercy, still elaborates on the different types of punishment in hell so that we learn a lesson. So there's more to it as well. But this should be sufficient. The next chapter will be on Iman and Kufr. We might do a bit after namaz, inshallah, on it. Take a break. Let's just start this the next chapter on Aqidah. Just as an introduction. Finish on a light note, eh? Right, the next chapter is on Iman and Kufr, faith and disbelief. Now, what is Iman? Iman is with a sincere heart, true heart, to affirm all those things which are from zururiyat, i.e. the necessities of the religion. So you affirm on your tongue what's in your heart. This is faith, which we call iqrar bil lisan wa tasdeeq bil qalb. Some say it's the opposite. Now, to reject any one of the zururiyat-e-deen, the necessities of the religion, is kufr, is disbelief. That means even if a person accepts all of the other necessities of the deen but denies one, this is still kufr. Now, what are the zururiyat-e-deen? The necessities of the religion are all those matters which are known to everyone, i.e. the aam and the khas, the ulama and the general public, all of them know that you need to know these things to be Muslim. Like the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there not being a prophet after our Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam. Yes? Do you understand that? So these are known as the zururiyat, things like this which are really common. And I would add here as well, in this day and age, even though it's not common in our societies, like as in where we're living, like some people make they call perennialism. Yes, yes. There is made a big issue on social media, but the way I look at it is that in our societies, meaning the daily people that I meet, yes, and that's even students of knowledge, yes, have not come across it. Yes, I mean, you probably have come across it because of what's going on maybe on social media or certain people's writings and so on and so forth. What I'm talking about is on a different level, and that is in terms of the common person that you meet. Yes? So, is there a need for us to introduce it to them? No. There's no need. There's not to say that you don't refute it. I mean, for ulama to refute it, and those who have got the knowledge of it, they should refute it, and a refutation in terms of writing can be done. But the truth is that it's something that's settled in the deen as well. Yes? I decided to write an article on this. Is it available? I was decided to write one. Okay. And I was going to refute this universal religion that they call it. Yes? Which is a belief that every religion leads to God. Eventually? Okay. Yeah, every religion leads to God, meaning the salvation in every single religion. So you can be whoever you like and you will gain salvation. Now, this has been refuted by people like Mujaddid al-Faisani, Sheikh Ahmad Sarhindi, and various other ulama ikram have refuted this concept. And if you look at it from a Christian angle or any other religion angle, it's easy to refute. Yes? And there's lots of literature in regards to it on that side. And the problem was when you look at it through from a Muslim aspect. You can't call it a Muslim aspect, that's what I'm putting. Because there's nothing Muslim about it. Go for it.
Are you referring to what the Pakistani career said?
Yeah. As in, where they say, who was it, Akbar? Yes? The king? Yes, when he married the Hindu woman? Yes. And he said that the river Ganga is the river Kausar. Yes, and he mixed everything up. Yes. I even believe that Sikhs came from there. At one point, it was like the foundation for the Sikhism, yes. Because you see with Sikhs that they half cope between Hindu tradition and Muslim traditions. Yes. And when I decided to write an article, and I wrote like a half a page or so, but then I realized that I'm just writing in terms of verses of the Quran, which scholars before us had done. Yes? And there's no point in me doing that, meaning those works are translated as well. They're out there. Meaning I looked at those works as well that are translated, and I think I'm just writing something that's already been written. So then I stopped. In 2 years, yes. 2 years I stopped writing the article, and I started looking in terms of, the study Quran, yes, which is a tafsir which we don't recommend, yes, and there's kufriyat in there as well, yes, wrong translations, and there's all sorts wrong with it, yes. But even when I looked in that, I didn't really get in terms of this universal religion, in terms of as a Muslim aspect, because the person apparently, and I'm using Muslim as in how the Western people use Muslim, yes. Is Shia the person who wrote it, isn't it? Yes. Nasr he claims to be Shia. So the point is here is that how he's written. So what is his outlook, and what are his interpretations, and what are his viewpoints in regards to certain verses of the Quran or certain hadith mubarakah and other aspects. Truth is, there's nothing much to go on. Because I don't want to be writing an article that I'm just repeating what everyone else is saying in regards to it, meaning, which is that I write something which the other person has already read up on from Mujaddid al-Fisani. And then he's going to write an article refuting it. So I rather look into what are the arguments and refute the arguments instead. But I literally couldn't find anything. Literally couldn't find anything, which I just came to the conclusion that whatever Mujaddid al-Fisani wrote is sufficient, and whatever has been translated is sufficient.
What's the view of Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi on that? By the end of everything, God's Rahmani Sifat will overcome and He will accept everyone.
But we can do ta'wil of it. We'll say that it doesn't extend towards the kuffar, and those are those who are staying in hell forever. Yes? You can still do ta'wil of it.
But wasn't that...
You're talking about Ibn Taymiyyah student, aren't you? Yes?
Yeah. But isn't that...
We can either answer it as that or fully just reject him anyway. It's one or the other, isn't it? We either say he's got nothing to do with us. Yes? For he's Ibn Taymiyyah student. And he started going on the Ibn Taymiyyah path, yes, aspect. So we just get rid of him straight away. We have nothing to do with him.
Do we completely disregard Ibn Taymiyyah?
What's that?
Do we completely disregard Ibn Taymiyyah?
Yeah, not out the religion or anything. I mean, in terms of his thinking
works.
and everything.
His
Yes, he works. Yes, that's our viewpoint. Yeah, and anybody for that matter who follows Ibn Taymiyyah in that way. Yes, as in those views of Ibn Taymiyyah. I don't mean every part of his work. I mean in certain views which Ibn Taymiyyah had. Yes, I personally reject that person. Yes, doesn't matter if any of our teachers or our sheikhs have affiliations with them. And I say out clearly, there's nothing wrong with that as well. Yes, meaning if Nadwi has Ibn Taymiyyah views, then that's got nothing to do with me, and I refute him on it. Yes, it's simple. It's not rocket science, is it? And I've refuted him in the past, and I can refute him more. But it's somebody I can't listen to. People send me videos of him, and I just can't listen to him. because I don't understand the word he's saying. Yes? So a person who can understand that type of language that he uses in terms of the way he speaks English is very broken, isn't it? Yes, his command of English language is very poor. So it's very hard to listen to. So I'll probably listen to about 2 minutes and I have to switch it off. Yes, and I'll tell the brother, look, you just write it out for me. Yes, and I'll read it. It's something else. So, if people are asking for me to refute him, this, that, the other, yeah, the only reason I'm doing it is because I just can't listen to him. Yes, and then the other thing is that certain things that you're saying are his opinions. Yes, and those opinions we reject.
No basis.
Yes, there's no basis to them, so we reject them outright. Yes. But anyway, back to this, the study Quran. The study Quran is something that we don't recommend. Don't even buy it, don't even think about it. Yes. But the point is, I'm saying study Quran. Majority of the sisters don't even know what I'm talking about. Yeah. A majority of the brothers here don't know what I'm talking about. Yes. You know what I'm talking about, but the rest of them don't know what I'm talking about. So my point is made, and what's that? That these things are not ripe within our communities, in that sense. Okay. I'm not saying that they don't need to be refuted, they should be refuted. Yes? But from my aspect, they should be refuted on an angle in terms of what they're saying, what their objections are, what their reservations are. Yes? Gather them and then refute them. Not that you write an article that's already been written by other greater ulama than yourselves, and then you bring it out and then they write objections. And then you have to answer those objections. Why not just do it from the start and then leave it out in public and you don't have to look back at it? It's there in public, people can read it if they come across it. Yes? So this is one thing. So there's only one religion, and this is part of Zururiyat ad-Din as well. And what's that? That is that there's only one religion which has salvation. Yes, like the verse of the Quran. That the religion according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Islam. Yes, is Islam. Now they will twist and change that translation. They take its literal meaning instead. Yes, but that is wrong then, isn't it? So this is kufr. This is disbelief. Yes, this is why we say that people who even translate it in this manner, yes, they have disbelieved. They totally neglect that it refers to the religion of Islam, as in what the Prophet ﷺ brought. Yes? If you say like that, if you negate that meaning and say it only refers to peace or something of this sort, yes? That the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is only peace, but not the religion. Yes? Then this is problematic. Okay? So when we said awam here, public, we refer to awam to be Muslims who do not come under ulama. Muslims who do not come under ulama. But there are those people who have sat with ulama, so they still know something. You're not talking about the Joe Blog type of people, who just don't know anything, they haven't been to a masjid or anything, and they just, men namaz dilaj parna. Okay? That type of people. Okay? So we're not referring to them because they don't know, do they? So not those people who are living in jungles and in mountains, but don't take that literally. One of my teachers he was a poet, an Urdu poet. He's kind of famous, I won't mention his name, it'll cause a bit of havoc. He had a book. he had a book called Shahr Mein Jungle. Yes, and literally fits here what I'm trying to say. That in every city there's a jungle, and what we're saying here is that even though you're living in the city and you should be educated on these matters, people should be educated on these matters, they're not. In this day and age, they're worse than Bedouins. People living in jungles and travelers and so on and so forth. Okay. You're probably thinking who he was now. He wouldn't cause that much of a havoc, but it's just sometimes people associate with other people and then, yes? Anwar al-Mustafa Hamdami. Okay? If that rings a bell to you. He's the founder of Al Mustafa Center. He's from Inajukan.
Pandora's book.
Huh? Pandora's box. I studied with him for a long time, I think. Yes. It was just in his madrasa I studied. With my teacher was Mufti Fazl Sahib. But he was away from Minhaj at that time. But he's back with them.
Was that, did you study here or did you?
No, in Al Mustafa Center.
Oh,
Yeah, in the UK. So look here, is that the Zururiyat-e-Deen, these people are not, we're not talking about those people who do not know the Zururiyat-e-Deen. Yes, we're talking about those people who actually might have not studied, but because of sitting with the ulama and being around an Islamic environment, pick up on these things. So, but then the question rises, when they don't know the Zururiyat, are they Muslim? Yes? Question rises, doesn't it? They are Muslim, as long as they do not specifically deny something from the Zururiyat-e-Deen. Yes?
Yeah.
Remember that. If you ask somebody regarding, I don't know, how is Allah one, and he doesn't know, yes, then you can't call him a kafir because of it. Yes? You cannot call him a kafir because of it. If he just says, I just know Allah is one, that's sufficient. That is sufficient.
One of the scholars said it's very easy to come into Islam, it's very difficult to get out.
To get out, but these days it's very easy to get out and difficult to come in.
If you don't know,
Yes,
Depends
then
on the
you
ulama.
can't be held accountable.
yes. These days it's the opposite effect. It's easy to leave the religion and harder to come into the religion. Take it in this way, a non-Muslim comes, are you MI6? Are you MI5? Those questions get asked first, don't they? Why are you taking Islam? I've seen people do that, you shouldn't do that, you know.
I was going to ask, when you go to the workplace, you get a lot of Muslims that have never studied the, but they have points of view on the that aren't really based on anything concrete.
I mean, if there's nothing that denies the necessities of the religion, then it's just their opinion, isn't it?
Like I've heard things like some Muslims believe all the miracles were just natural things that happened.
Oh, those people are lost the plot, so to speak. Yeah, they either naturalists,
Yeah.
okay, or Maududi type of thinking people. Yes.
I mean, but can you consider them out of Islam even though they've never...
Depends what they deny. Because miracles are of different categories.
Okay.
And if they deny mass-narrated miracles, yes?
The example that they gave to me was that as a Isa when he brought the dead back to life,
Yes.
they thought it just meant he brought their hearts back to life.
That is bringing the dead back to life.
No, just their hearts
No,
as
just
in
the-
spiritually. Like as they...
We believe from the Quran that he brought
They were
Yeah.
alive.
the dead back to life. Okay? He brought the dead back to life, or he cured the people who were born blind. Okay? And leprosy. So we believe it in the literal.
No, I know we believe in the literal, but some people somebody would deny that.
We'll call that misguidance, because he's not denying the Quran in itself,
Okay.
in terms of the what the Quran has said, because he's still got the reviving aspect to it.
It's just a chaos.
Yes, yes, but it's in depth, isn't it?
Yeah.
What got revived? So we say it's misguided because of that. But if, for example, somebody denied the splitting of the moon, yes, that didn't happen. And I'll even say down to point that said that that to exaggerate miracles of the Prophet ﷺ, to say that he's great, so we don't need to exaggerate his miracles. Yes, this is actually a plot for people to move off the miracles of the Prophet ﷺ. Yes, and the naturalists kind of use it. When I say naturalists, they claim to be Muslims, naturey, and is troublesome and it's wrong, because it damages Islam. It damages Islam from within, weakens it. And unfortunately, you have people in the UK now who do that. I watched another mufti who said something about this, didn't he? Yes? It was the spinning of the moon or something? Yes? Regarding this. So, that we don't need to mention this for the greatness or something like that, he said. But the point is, we mention it and it's a narrative for a reason. And that reason is, it certifies that our Prophet ﷺ was the real Prophet of Allah. Yes? Do you understand that? And then it shows his greatness as well. So there is a purpose behind them. But if you start going into, I don't know, people start saying, oh, it just looked broken. Why? Because there was a vertical or horizontal cloud in the middle. Yeah, so it looked broken when it wasn't really broken. Yeah, we don't want to be doing stuff like that. We believe in the literal first. Okay? Believe in the literal. Like a long time ago on Geo TV, there was Ghamdi from Pakistan. Now he's one of them as well. Pervasive type of thinking type of people. Now, for example, with the Surah Fil, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the birds to throw the stones. He totally denies it. And he says, no, what really happened was the Arabs went to the mountains and they threw boulders down. Abraha. Yes? And the birds did not come with stones. And how did he work that out? The Quran says it clearly. وَأَرْسَلَ عَلَيْهِمْ طَيْرًا أَبَابِيلَ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent over Abraha, who came from Yemen to destroy the Kaaba. He sent Ababil, pigeons or birds. Yes? And then when they threw the stones, then it's like when you chew your food and it goes really mushy type. Yes? فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَأَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. And they became like that. That those small stones, they threw them, and then when it hit them, they just splattered out. Yes? And what did Ghamdi says, what? That the Arabs and the Prophet's grandfather went up to the hills and the mountains and they threw boulders from there. Yes? So it's just totally against the Quran, isn't it? At that time he got thrown off the TV channel anyway, because of Mufti Munibur Rahman. And then one time he said something like, alcohol is not definitively haram. Was it alcohol? Or the khinzir, I think he said. I'm not sure which one he said now. Either alcohol or the pig. One or the other, he said that it's not, both are the same category, aren't they? So he said that they're not definitively haram. Which again is troublesome. So they'll twist things like that. So it's just best to stay away from them.
So what if you're reading something and you don't know, like in the Quran, especially whether it's literal, metaphorical, allegorical?
You need to study it.
So then what tafsir would you recommend? Because a lot of the time the person writing the tafsir, they'll have like their perspective on it or the publisher.
I'll say no need to read tafsir, just take Ala Hazrat's translation. Yes? Settles the score, doesn't it? You don't have to go through pages and pages of tafsir when he can just settle it, learn Urdu, and he can settle it in 1 or 2 words for you.
What about tafsir Jalalain?
Yeah, tafsir Jalalain is good. But it depends on the translator, and if you can read Arabic, alhamdulillah. Huh? I wouldn't recommend modern day translations in English. Yes. As in, if it's just good for reading, but if you're going to read as in detail, yes, as in, try to take Aqidah out of it. Sometimes people just want to read the Quran in terms of just read it and know what it means. Yes? But not look into it in detail. Those type of people only end up looking at verses or concentrating on verses of heaven and hell. Yes? Or the stories of the Anbiya alayhimu salatu wasalam. Yes? And things like this. So, you can recommend any Quran in that sense. I would still recommend Kanzul Iman, even the English. Some of the English translations are the best translations of it as well. Yes? This is why I said it. There's Pir Karam Shastras as well. But what I'm saying in regards to this is that if you're just a normal person who's just going to read the Quran, but not read it in that detail, He just wants to know what the Quran is trying to say, look at the stories in the Quran and things like this, and take lessons from the Quran. Then in that sense that, more or less any type of translation does the job then. Yes? But in terms of you're going to really look into detail like you're talking about, then in that case I would say that so far in the English language I've not come across a Quran which does that job. And even told him in the translation of Kanzul Iman that are out there, okay, they're doing a bad job.
Yeah, I understand that in the sense that the translation will always lack
Yes.
an emphasis or because it's translated
Yes.
in a sense. But I mean, for just
Then you know the necessity of learning Arabic now. So it's fard for you to learn Arabic. Yes. Let's carry on. So the Prophet ﷺ being the last of the messengers as well, this is from the necessities of the religion. Look at Aqidah number 1. According to us, real faith, true faith, real faith is the name of tasdeeq, is only tasdeeq, affirmation. And your actions are not part of your faith. This is the difference between Islam and Iman. Yes? Which people didn't understand in the last article I wrote. That was the reason why it was written like that. Parameters of Sunni Islam. Okay? I'm not talking about Iman. Okay? So, it set the standard that way. I'm talking about parameters of actions of Sunni Islam, Sunni actions. Yes? I'm not talking about faith. So it's something for you to understand. Those people who are reading my article need to have a bit of a head to read it. Okay? Otherwise, they will blame me for things which I didn't write. Yes? People blame me that I refuted Sheikh Ramadan, I called him Salafi, I called him this, I called him that. I have not called Sheikh Ramadan by those names. I believe Sheikh Ramadan is a great scholar of Islam. I believe that he's a Sunni scholar of Islam. I believe that he's a Sufi as well, even though he was against certain practices of tasawwuf. Yes? And for whatever reasons, that's his view. Yes? All we have done in the article is that we have presented the correct position in regards to those matters in which he differed with. That's all we've done. We haven't said that he's Salafi, Wahhabi, this, that, the other. One thing which I picked up on was the methodology he used in there. And that's what I'm saying, parameters of Sunni Islam in terms of actions, of how you work in terms of methodology. So the things that he's, for example, said that the Sahaba never did this. Yes? That's what I've called Salafi, Deobandi methodology. Yes, akin to it. I didn't say he meant to use it like that, or that he adopts that in every single thing that he does. No, I said akin to it, which means that just in these matters he somehow ended up using this way. Yes, something that they do. But other than that, he has many great works. Even those works that I picked up on, where I've shown the correct position, there's subjects in those works which are of great benefit. Yes. But all it is for the person who reads Sheikh Ramadan Bhuti, he should know those issues and know that the correct position in regards to the Ahlul Sunnah in those Islamic issues is highlighted.
Could it not be said that he said some of the things that he did under the circumstances he was in?
The books don't highlight that. The problem is I can only go by what he's written. Yes? So I go by what is written, so I can assume lots of things. Yes? Yeah. But I'm not there to assume, am I?
Then it's the question of...
The point of clarifying it, that even if he wrote that in whatever reasons he wrote it in, the actual position, yes, of the Ahlul Sunnah is clarified as well. So that's the thing there.
I think that goes back to your clarification of Islam and Iman, because
yes.
If he believed inside, it's like if, say, someone takes the Shahada, but in their heart they don't have enough time to say it, but they take it with their heart,
Yes.
would they still count as Muslim?
According to us Hanafis, if they have shahada in their heart, then they are Muslim, but they're major sinners.
Okay. But this is just before they're about to die. So
Even,
Like
yeah,
a person
yeah,
on the
it's still because we can't do the janazah, then can we?
okay, yeah.
Yes. For that reason, because iqrar bil lisan is a necessity according to us. It's wajib to do iqrar bil lisan. This is why we're saying the person is a major sinner. Yes. But what we're saying here is that those assumptions might be there, and we have not targeted those assumptions. As in, whatever intentions Shaykh Ramadan al-Bhuti had in regards to writing those things, yes, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him for his intentions, yes. But what has reached us in regards to that, we've just clarified, that's it. Yes, husnul zan. It's not, this is why I've categorically said that it's not a critique of Shaykh Ramadan.
It's not him.
It's not him. Huh?
Yeah.
Commentaries needed. Is what people. The problem is that people. You understand that people don't read and then they twist things. Yeah.
Fall into the layman's hands.
Yes. It's not the layman though. It's other people that have made the opinions without reading it, and then it's gone to the layman. Yes. Because the truth is, the layman wouldn't know when he's reading the article. He'll probably read the first masala on it and put it down, and say, "I have no idea what he's talking about." Yes? But others should know. That's the problem.
I think you should just sit in a room, Shaykh.
It wasn't written for anybody particular, it was just something that I had in my mind. It was done, mashallah.
From the explosion.
So you understand what Islam is and what Iman is now. But they are interchangeable. So you find in works that sometimes Islam is used in the meaning of Iman and Iman is used in the meaning of Islam. So they are interchangeable in that meaning. As for iqrar, because the first was tasdeeq, wasn't it? Yes, that you affirm in the heart. Iqrar is what's the next translation for iqrar?
Repeat.
Yeah,
Speak.
pronounce. Yes,
Declare.
declare. Yes, declare is better. The tafsir in this is that if a person, which we just answered before as well, that if a person didn't get a chance to declare his faith, then according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he'll be a believer. Yes? But if he got a chance to declare, and he was asked to declare his faith, but he didn't declare it, then according to us, he dies a kafir.
It might seem obvious, but what if, say, a person's on their deathbed?
Yes.
They can't speak, but you ask them the question and they give ishara that
Yeah,
they do.
the ishara count.
Yeah, ishara will count, yeah. Any signs, and then
But then
people.
what if you're interpreting an ishara as well, could just be like one.
No, you make sure you repeat it 3 times. You do something where you definitively know that yes, and people around say yes, he accepted faith. Yes. So that's that. So the person who declares it, his janazah will be read. The person who does not declare it, his janazah will not be read. But according to us, he still will be a believer in the law. Will be a major sinner for not declaring it. Okay. Aqidah number 2. A condition for being a believer is that with his tongue he should not deny any one of the necessities of religion. We call this zururiyat deen, zururiyat deen. Not a single one, like we said before. To a point that he says, look, I've only denied it in my tongue, but in my heart I believe the opposite. Yes, he shouldn't still do that as well.
It's for a free person.
Yeah, free person. Obviously, if it's under duress, then that person has leave to do what his
Need to do together.
circumstances temporary. Like, for example, we use the example of Sayyidina Bilal. Yes, even though he kept affirming that Allah is one, but he had leave to say that there are many gods. Yes, and he wouldn't be accountable for it. Somebody put a gun to your head and told you to do kufr, then You can bring kufr on your tongue, but don't believe it in your heart. Yes? And that'll be fine according to us. You're still Muslim.
What should you do in that scenario?
Would it be more honourable to just?
What's that?
Wouldn't it just be more honourable?
It is more honorable,
You can't throw your
but
life
then
away.
you have to look of, you can't throw your life away and what situation you're in. Yes? And we have to look at your intentions as well. They're going to call me a ghazi. Yeah. You've heard the hadith when one of the first people to be brought to in the court of Allah will be a martyr, and he'll be dragged to there, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to him that I give you strength and such and such and such and such. What do you do with it? He said, I fought till, did jihad till your slogan was raised high. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to him, you lied. And the angels will be ordered to drag him all the way to hell. And they'll drag him in such a way that they'll drag him by his feet, and his cheeks will be on the ground, and there'll be small stones, sharp stones, and they'll be scratching his face as they drag him all the way to hell. And that's a guy who everybody knew to be a martyr. So if you're under duress, then in this case it is jais to say on the tongue but not believe it in the heart. We'll stop on that one. We'll carry on from there next week. Shall we do our fiqh? What chapter were we on? Anybody remember?
The frustration and wrapping of the turban without having the reason. 193. That which does not nullify the prayer.
Yeah. Which does not.
Which does not nullify.
Yeah.
It's the one you can frustrate on a picture.
Yeah.
Number 35.
On the corner of the imam. Yeah. Right. To prostrate on the corner of your amama does not break your salah. Is that what we're talking about? It's not. It's makruh rather. It's makruh. So prostrating upon the corner of your imama is makruh, disliked. Or upon an image. Or upon an image, this is makruh. To do prostration, make prostration upon the forehead alone and not your nose. This is also makruh. Because it said in the back that you should prostrate with your nose and your forehead. Yes? So then if you just use your forehead and there's no excuse for you not to put your nose down, then this is makruh. And you see a lot of people do this, unfortunately. They have the forehead on the ground but their nose is not touching the ground. Both of them should be, what's that?
They're going to get that mark.
Yeah, they're rubbing their forehead on the ground and trying to burn the forehead.
And they say it's going to shine.
That's not the meaning of the verse of the Quran or what they say. No. وَالصَّلَاةُ فِي الطَّرِيقِ is makruh to pray namaz on a pathway. So if you're walking in the street and all of a sudden you just start reading namaz, but people are walking past. It's not jais to do. This is why I find it odd where people start reading, you have these videos where they're reading in the airport or they're reading in the middle of the road, and I mean, subhanAllah, Muslims are praying. Yes, it shouldn't be done like that. Meaning, sometimes you have to do, you're in a gathering and it's in the middle of the park somewhere and then you read your salah, whatever. But like sometimes you see people in the middle of the airport, he's just right in the middle, no sutra, nothing, he's just reading namaz. His namaz is makruh. Yeah, so you should always find a nice corner where you can pray your salah. And if you look at another aspect of the people who do stuff like that, where they're busy place and they read namaz right in the middle of it, they're not really praying in that sense. It's for show, isn't it? Yes, and it's wrong to do that. It harms people and you have to be careful of that. Wal hammam, public bath, swimming pool or something, okay, to start reading namaz there, go for it. In a car, have we done that chapter? Did we? Are you sure? No, we haven't. We haven't done it. Praying in a car, nafil namaz is jaiz in a car. When I say nafil, it includes your sunnahs as well. Yes? Farz and witr are not permissible in a car. Okay? I was in Morocco and the driver, wasn't it Jimmy? We're like, what is he doing? And he was like going up and down. We thought his back was hurting first. And then, and then we realized he was reading namaz. Like wishing, I hope he doesn't do sajda on the steering wheel. Keep his eye on the road. Where were we going that time? Marrakesh. So in the hammam, it's not permissible. Why? Because hammams tend to be filthy places. Yes, as in dirty water sometimes, and all sorts going on there. Public baths. So it's not a nice place to pray in. Similarly, fil makhraj. Yes. Have you got a toilet for that? Yes. Washroom. Yes. Washroom. That's a Pakistani word. Yes. It is, isn't it? That's what I got here. Is that what it's got there? Washroom. Lavatory. What else is there? Convenience. Yes. Once one of my teachers asked me, and I was going to say bathroom, because we generally use bathroom, don't we? And it came out of my mouth, washroom. And my teacher clicked on that and said to me, that where we picked that up from? Yes. I said, why? He goes, people in the UK don't use it. I go, where do they use it? They go from Pakistan. I go, then he must be my wife. In the graveyard, but that's in front of graves, but it's a specific place to pray in the graveyard. That's fine, that's like a masjid then, isn't it? But to pray in between graves or towards graves, this is not jais to do. So in the graveyard, you shouldn't pray in the graveyard. Why? Because people think that you worship in graves. وَأَرْضِ الْغَيْرِ بِلَا رِضَاهُ, simply translate as trespassing. Yes? Trespassing, and then you start reading namaz. It's makruh, your namaz is makruh. You shouldn't be trespassing. Yes? It's a law in Islam, no trespassing. It's not allowed. If you get shot, then good, bad luck. So you don't trespass. You're on a hike somewhere and you go into some farmer's land and start reading do nafil there, It's makruh to do that. وَقَرِيبًا مِن نِجَاسَةٍ, to read close to najasa, impurities. Yes, it's not nice. It's makruh. مُدَافِعًا لِأَحَدِ الْأَخْبَثَيْنِ, when you're at jihad with yourself. Okay? Sorry, I mean in a different way. When you need the bathroom, basically. Okay. But to such an extent where you really, really need it. Okay. Awil rihi, or a strong wind. Okay. When you're in such a situation, then it's makruh to read your namaz. Yes. You shouldn't fight this. This is a battle you cannot win. Okay. There's no need for you to fight it. So it's really a lose-lose situation here. Yes? Because whichever way you look at, you're going to lose. Yes? You fight it and read namaz is makruh. Yes? And if you don't fight it, you're still going to lose, aren't you? Yes? وَمَعَ نَجَاسَةٍ غَيْرِ مَانِئَةٍ, or to pray with najasa which does not stop the prayer, as in it doesn't prohibit you from reading. But if you have the means to remove it, then it's makruh to read with it on, then isn't it? You got impurities upon your clothes, it's not to such a point where it's bigger than a £2 coin. You can just go and wash it. Yes? But you still pray with it, then it's makruh. So you should still do ihtimam and prepare in this regards. If there's a fear of missing the time of the prayer or missing the congregation, then it's fine. Then it's not makruh.
This is just for clothes.
Yeah, clothes the body. Yes. وَالصَّلَاةُ فِي ثِيَابِ الْبَذْلَةِ, to pray in your work clothes. Okay, to pray namaz in your work clothes is makruh. I'm going to make a distinction. Look, if you work in an office, then you don't do much. Okay.
What if there's stuff on your clothes, but it's not like, it's like, say like,
Motor oil.
yeah, or like,
No, this is nothing to do with impurities. You know, the second masla has got nothing to do with impurities.
so it's any,
Yes, we're talking about work clothes, but you know,
Manual labour.
like people are working as taxi drivers or working in the office. Then they don't do much, do they? Just sat all day. Yes, maybe answering calls or pressing a few keys on the keyboard or something like that. Yes, or reading emails. Majority of people I know just be on Facebook all day. Yes. These days Apple's made it easy. You can do split screen. Yes, and you know, look at both. So they don't do much, do they? So but they're well dressed, though, aren't they? Yes. So those people are okay. They can pray in those clothes. What we're talking about here is like builders and things like this. Go for it. Painter, decorator. Yes, plasterers, people like this. Yes. Then they should have a separate set of clothes. Yes. Yeah, people who sweat. People who sweat, if it's because of work, then they should have separate clothes. Because if they sweat, then it stinks. And then you have people who just sweat for no reason. I had a teacher called Dominic in Bradford College. He was my teacher throughout when I did A-levels. And he was the head of the year as well. And it's been snowing and he's still sweating. Yeah, he was a big person. Like, he was tall and big. But he used to constantly sweat. Yeah? And nowadays he used to change his t-shirts as well. Yes. So he was majority of the teaching he used to teach me. And he used to wear 3 or 4 t-shirts in the day because of that. Which is good to change. Okay? But specific for prayer, you should always have clean clothes to pray it. But again, it depends on your work. Depends on your work. Housewife. Housewife, because look, in the house, you're not always wearing a jubbah, are you? Yes? So it's good to just have a jubbah spare. And when it's time for salah, just put the jubbah on. And it's good to have a jubbah for prayer because there's more security in it. Yes? When you wear salwar kameez and things like this, then your arms can be open. Yes? Your ankles can be shown. Yes? Which then affect your prayer. So it's best to just have a jubbah at home, which you can just put on and then pray in that. And if you ever been to Turkey, in Turkey they have those. Yeah, any women who want to enter the masjid, they just give them the jubbah or the scarf or something. And if in certain masajid in Morocco as well, you have that they have jubbahs. I've read about it, where the zawiyas especially, where they leave jubbahs. Yes, and you put the jubbah on. Yes, and you just walk in, for men that is. You put a jubba on, you can sit in the masjid, do whatever you want. Yes. The next thing, وَمَكْشُوفْ الرَّأْسِ, to pray namaz without a hat, with a naked head. Obviously this affects the brothers, sisters, your namaz will not be done. Yes, without a headscarf, namaz won't be done. What's the reason? Aura. Head's part of the aura. If it's for tazallul, lowering yourself, humbling yourself, showing yourself to be weak in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But this is like a Sufi state. Yes? As in you're really sincere and you want to present yourself in that way, then it's permissible. It's not makruh. But generally, you should pray with the hat on. It might be a fashion now not to pray with your hat on. It might look more manly, but it's against the sunnah. It's against the sunnah. To pray namaz is makruh while food is present. Yes. So if there's food present, but not just any food, food which you're yamilu ilayhi, you incline, you're dying for it. You want to really eat it. Yes? It always has it. Yes. And it's food that you're hungry in such a way that all you can think about is food. Yes? Yeah, Ramadan. Okay. And then what happens, then it causes a problem, doesn't it? With your khushu to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're humbling yourself, your sincerity towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it kind of affects it. What's that? If you're running out of time to pray, then you should read your prayer. But if it's at such that you're really dying for food, yes, then you should eat to a bit that can take that yearning for that food away slightly, not to your full, but to a point where you stop yearning for it. Yeah, pray and then come back.
What should someone do if they can't attain that khushu anyway
Without thinking of food?
Yeah.
Huh? So even if they've eaten to their full, had seconds, and still can't. Okay, he needs to sit in front of Ustad with the danda. No, if somebody's keen on food all the time and all they can think about food is, then it's best for him to try to start fasting, but that might damage him more sometimes. But I would say is he should pray straight after eating. Yes, because a person when he eats, yes, once he's eaten to his full, he doesn't think about food. So that's the time he should pray. So he should plan his prayers in such a way that he's just eaten.
And what about people in general who just can't attain khushu? Close your eyes.
Yeah, try your best. Try your best to gain that khushu. But people don't gain khushu because of the wuzu. Yes. No, one of the reasons is that because wuzu, they haven't concentrated in wuzu. That's one of the problems, sisters. Is that when people do not concentrate in wuzu, yes, that's when they cannot concentrate in prayer. If you concentrate in wuzu, as in when you're making wuzu, you take off all, somewhat happened in this drama and that drama, and yes, husband said this, yes, and the wuzu said wife said this. Yeah. So you get all that out of your head, and if you think, the thing that you think about in your wuzu, yeah, is tried and tested. If you're thinking about an argument in your head at wuzu time, when you're going to go into your salah, even if it's like 20, 30 minutes later, you're going to be thinking about the same thing. Yes? So if you block it out in your wuzu, you'll block it out in prayer easily. Yeah? So this is why we should concentrate in our wuzu as well. Hence why you read those du'as. Yes?
I think someone asked a question that if you, for example, open your fast, is it recommended to eat fast and then pray your salah?
Yeah, always eat first and then pray your salah.
So is that to a sustainable amount? Or is
Yeah.
it not to your full?
No, you don't have to. If you want, if you got a need to eat to your full, then do it. Yes. But if you don't have a need, then eat and then go to the prayer. Addul ayi wa tasbih bil yadi, to count the verses of the Quran or tasbih on your hand. In salah, you're like, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, yeah? Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. You're counting like this. With big actions, that is. Yes? This is makruh to do. Or you're counting the tasbih. For example, you're reading Salatul Tasbih. Yes? And then you're counting the tasbih on your hand like 1, 2, 3. That's makruh. But what do we allow is that you just press down on your fingers. Yes? Slightly. I'm doing it more apparent than it should be done. Normally just be done like this. Just slight movement. Yes? That you know what you're doing. Yes? But just for your sake, we'll press it down like that, with the finger slightly above the other. Right? So you press it down 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. That's fine. Yes? Yes. So you know where you are. وَقِيَامُ الْإِمَامِ فِي الْمِحْرَابِ, if there's an imam, for him to completely stand in the mihrab is makruh. You know the mihrab? The square thing in the front? To completely, for the imam, in his ankles completely to be inside the mihrab. This is makruh. Why? Because we're not Christians. Are we neither Jews?
It's just this.
The imam is part of the public.
What in Christianity?
In Christianity, they elevate him on the altar. Yes. What do the Jewish do?
Never been to a synagogue.
No? Trying to think. I'm sure.
No, they have they have like a big scroll.
Scroll in front, yeah.
And then it's facing forward. And
So they either elevated or he's completely separated, isn't he? We don't do that. His feet at least, even if he prostrates in the mihrab, his feet should be outside of the mihrab. Okay? So if his feet are here, his namaz is jaiz. If his feet come inside the mihrab, that is makruh for him to do.
so it's during prayer, or could it be in a gathering or an event?
What's that? No, events are okay. You're going to do with pizza, what's going to happen there then? This is in salah. وَالْقِيَامُ حَلْفَ صَفٍّ فِيهِ فَرْجَ, to stand behind a row which has gaps in it. When you could easily cover those gaps and fill those gaps, you make a new row. That's makruh to do. Yes? You should always know how to straighten your rows. Yes, sisters as well. You get a lot of complaints that sisters don't know how to straighten their rows. Yeah? But don't worry about it. Brothers have been reading namaz in the masjid for so long and they still don't know. We still have to tell people. Yes?
You need a police and a Friday.
Police.
They come with a stick and make sure we like.
The 5 daily prayers, you expect people who have been coming for so long. For example, one of the problems we have in this masjid is because the hall is long and the entrances are towards, if you're facing this way, then it's the right hand side, isn't it? Yes. So towards the right hand side of the masjid, people end up just joining there, and the left hand side of the masjid, all this side is empty. Yes. Which means that sometimes what happens is that other than the first row, the person who's standing behind me in the second row, directly behind me, right? The row is going this way. There's nobody on this side. He's directly behind me. So it's a bit of a problem. And you always have to tell people to go from that side to the other side. And then you have to keep announcing, and then like the 4th or 5th time, that's when they listen to you.
They still don't listen. When you get the cheeky ones, so you don't move them, they'll do Allah for fun. They're laughing at you, you know what I mean? And that you're not going to move them, you're still going to have them when you take them.
So so in the rows it's a big thing. It's discipline. Yes? When you come into the masjid, then always go to the front, wherever you find a gap, sit there. You don't need to sit at the back of the masjid and wait for people to get the iqamah to happen and then you walk to the front. Because that delays the prayer then. And that's the problem. And we get those, for example, I'm used to as soon as the iqamah is, I say Allahu Akbar, but then people complain, or just give them time, do this ilan, do that ilan, say that switch off your phones or put them on silent and do this and do that. Truth is, we're really meant to just, as soon as the iqamah is done, you stand, the imam stands and does Allahu Akbar. The rows should be settled in that sense. But what we're doing, we're faffing about with each other. Tu tekal. It's not right. Okay. So you should always know how to straighten your rosa. Shoulder to shoulder, isn't it? Not toe to toe. Okay? وَلُبْسُ صَوْبٍ فِيهِ تَصَاوِيرُ, to wear shirts or clothes with pictures on them. By pictures we mean here living or symbols or things which are living, have pictures of them on your clothes. So it's makruh. It depends how big it is. Yes? Depends.
What about like a lot of designer like?
If it's small that you can't tell his features on it, yes, then it's fine. Because it just looks like an outline, doesn't it? But if it's big enough for you to tell what it is, then it's makruh to pray in it.
You know, a lot of brothers like cast crocodile and stuff.
It's small, isn't it? Sometimes, but sometimes it be big as well. So you just have to be careful with what size it is.
What if it's the shape of an animal, like an ape or a snake or a
If you can't tell his features,
Medusa?
if you can't tell his features like his face and his eyes and things like this, then it's fine. Then it's fine. Not long time ago, but maybe 2 or 3 years ago, you had those what they called Tom Hardy or something like that. Yeah, Ed Hardy ones, and they were a nuisance because even children were wearing them and they were coming in the madrasa with them on. Namaz in something like that is not permissible. Yes, and namaz in a Manchester United top is definitely not permissible. Okay. Okay. Once in this madrasa, the kid in that class, he sits in that class over there. His mum bought him a Man United jacket. Yes, and I just told her to, don't let him wear it. The masjid is not nice. I go, look, he can support Everton if he wants, or support Liverpool if he wants, and it's fine. But he's got a Manchester United top on, and he's coming to the mosque to learn the Quran, and we tell him, look, stay away from the devil, and he's got the devil straight on his heart. Right? So it's something that you shouldn't. If you want to support the team, support it, but you have to be careful in things or in certain things like this. And she argued with me for 20 minutes. Yeah. She argued with me for 20 minutes.
It's just a top.
And yeah, it's just a top. That's what she was just saying. And I know it's just a top. You can wear it outside. Just that's up to you. What he does outside the masjid, you're his parent. Yeah. But inside the masjid is not nice. He's gonna go downstairs. He's gonna read namaz and things like this. And then he's at that age as well. Yeah. So don't don't let him wear it to the masjid. But she argued 20 minutes.
What if someone's in front of you and they got someone on the back?
Same thing. It's makruh.
For you,
Your namaz is makruh as well. Yes.
what if you can't
Avoid it.
Yeah. What if you say to swap places, but you still like no?
Your namaz is makruh. Just get a towel and put it over it. What were you saying? Drag it off the back, cut it off.
Yeah, what about people that
Oh. The sisters are laughing, but they don't know what they're laughing about.
our namaz makruh or not?
The person who's reading, his namaz is makruh, nothing with your namaz. Yeah, the person behind him is nothing. Somebody gave a fatwa like this, and I answered it. They gave an actual fatwa saying that if his shirt lifts or trousers go slightly down, yes, then his namaz is makruh and your namaz is broken, I think he gave. Yes, but when I answered it, yeah, that's wrong. That fatwa is wrong. If you ever come across it again, it's completely wrong. You as the bystander, your namaz is not affected in the sense of being broken. Yes, obviously, the distraction, but it's.
So if you always try having a certain pillar to avoid that, are you allowed to do that?
Pillar.
Yeah, like one of the pillars said, this is my pillar, move.
You don't. Remember one thing.
Just to avoid
The
that.
Prophet ﷺ never read behind pillars, so we should try to avoid reading behind pillars. It kind of resembles idol worship, kinda. Okay, it is not idol worship, but it kinda resembles it.
But if you're doing it to avoid the hassle, because on a Friday you might get 10 people in front of you that have got a problem.
Just close your eyes. That's better. If the head is cut off of that picture, the animal or the human being, if its head is cut off, or sorry, what was I said? Not his head cut off. What am I talking about? وَأَنْ يَكُونَ is makruh to read namaz with the picture above your head. Above your head. Or behind you, or in front of you, or on your sides. Yes. So if you have images like that, then it is makruh to do that.
Like on your
Yes.
hat.
Even on your hat. Even on your hat.
What if it's like the back part of your back pocket?
Anywhere on your body.
Yeah. Even if it's not facing the direction you're
Yes.
facing.
Because it's in the back as well. So even behind you. Even if it's on the wall. Yes. The simple rule is, if it's in a place which is where you would honor something and respect something, yes, and there's a picture there, then your namaz will be makruh. But if it's in such a place, like we said in the back on the floor, or you trample over, yes, if there's a picture there, then your prayer's okay. Because you're degrading it then, aren't you? Yes? So do you understand that? If you have a picture in a room, in places where you honor the picture, yes, then to read namaz in that room is makruh. Okay?
Like family photographs.
Family photographs, any photograph of living things. Kids, any.
What's the ruling
Fil-
on photographs on the wall?
What's that?
Like having pictures on the wall in your house? Or
I say avoid it. But if you want to have some memories or whatever, then I don't say photography is haram in that sense, but it's best to avoid.
Also, like, you know, kids' books, you know, like with crocodiles or images of animals.
Same thing. They shouldn't be in a place where they're respected, like on the windows shelf or something. If they're lying around, then they're on the floor, aren't they?
The angels don't come in if you've got pictures and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. It's in a hadith sharif. But you should always have an allocated place for them. Yes, like the kid's bedroom. You don't have to read namaz there, do you? Kids are kids. Kids are protected. Don't worry about kids. You're the one that needs protection. Yes, kids are kids, aren't they? They're protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't need to worry about them. Now, you're the one that needs protection. The angels are going to move away from you. Okay? So the kids have the protection.
If you have something with a picture, like a logo or something, you wear a jubba on top of that.
Then it's fine. Yeah, as long as it's covered up.
Yeah.
It's like having a picture in your wallet of your wife and then you close it. Okay? If the picture is small, that you can't tell what it is, then it's fine as well. Or if its head is cut off.
small
Yes.
as in you're able to distinguish, or small as in a certain size?
No, I mean if you look at it and you can't tell what it is. That's how small. You know, like you sometimes wear those Lacoste tops. Yes? Sometimes if you're standing at a distance, like even this close, you can't tell. You know because obviously you got a memory that is there, but you can't tell if it's a crocodile or anything. It just looks like a blob on your shirt. Yes? Or if his head is cut off. So you might have your wife's picture with no head. Go for it.
What if the picture, like, is on the floor and you carry it over?
Yes, you can read namaz. Remember, it's not remember the principle is that's not being honored. Then is it?
Okay, what if it's on the wall and you carry it over?
Same thing. Yeah. You've disrespected it.
Or disrespecting the picture?
Yes.
Okay.
Not that it means anything, but it's just we're just showing the principle that in terms of our logic, if it's turned towards you on the wall, that's respect, isn't it? If you turn it away, then it's disrespect.
Well, there's a picture of a painting of a house.
Yes.
Is that allowed?
We're talking about living things. So if you got houses, trees,
That's fine.
flowers, fridge,
Furniture.
furniture.
Like you get some antique furniture.
Yeah, antique furniture, whatever. As long as it doesn't have images of living things, then it's fine. Animals and humans,
What if it has got animals in it?
then you shouldn't pray.
Just cover it.
Cover it up with the chadar.
Lion's head on the
What's that?
armchair with the lion's head.
No,
Again.
Egyptian furniture.
What if it's in relation to if someone, for example, has deceased? Does the same ruling apply?
Same ruling applies, yes. Yes, same ruling applies.
Isn't it the ruling that pictures are haram in itself to have?
There's an ikhtilaf amongst the ulama if picture as we know as pictures, photography, if that's haram or not.
That's a reflection.
Yeah. Hand-drawn pictures, there's no doubt about them being haram.
Or if you're getting a portrait. No, I'm just
Poetry, it's haram to get done. Yes,
for someone to draw you by hand.
yes. So that's that. Where are we?
Can I say again? Questions if someone's asked a
Through social media is permissible. Yes. Through social media is permissible. But when I'm talking about pictures here, I mean printed. Physical, yeah.
Someone else also asked with regard to some people have images of, you know, the sheikh or whoever, the peer or whatever, and in their homes, is that sort of allowed, or is that?
I mean, if you're of the opinion, like I said, I follow the way of precaution. If you want to keep something as a memory, but then keep it in one place. Yes, keep all those things in one place, and save them there. Whenever you want to go down memory lane, you can go there. You got phones these days anyway. Just save it on your phone, and alhamdulillah, everybody allows that now, don't they? Yes.
So like photo albums, fine.
On your phone, yes.
But no, like old photo.
Oh yeah.
All photo album again. Keep it in a place that it's
Kept there.
separate. Separate. And say this is outside the house. Say like your storeroom. Say it's outside the house.
Oh, so it's not
Yeah. So you're just bound to what you make as an intention.
make the negation.
Yes. So look at the next thing. Is makruh to read in front of a tandoor. Yes. Tandoor in Arabic is tandoor. What's the reason? Fire. It resembles fire worship.
Is that the same as a fireplace?
Yeah. We'll tell you now. Similar with the qanoon. Qanoon is like a cooker, but they use coal in it. Yes. To read in front of that. That's proper fire, isn't it? Yes. The other fires that you have at home. Yes. Nobody expects you to worship a fireplace. Okay. Because it's not really respectful, is it? In that sense.
We're doing log burners now, so you got wood burning.
Again, it's just make sure it's not in front of Qibla. Okay, just read the other way. You can read beside it. We're saying in front of it. Okay, so the tandoor is there and you're facing towards it. If it's on the sides or behind you, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, because worship is when you actually prostrate towards something, don't you? Yes, and in these cases there is not. What we're saying here is that you don't prostrate towards it. To pray in front of sleeping people, because you don't know what they're going to do. Okay, so it's best not to pray in front of them. But if you know who they are, okay, then it's sometimes permissible. The actual thing is permissible to read in front of sleeping people, but here we're saying it's makruh to do that because you don't know what they're going to do. But if you know the person, yes, is your husband or your wife, yes, then you can do that, because the Prophet ﷺ did that. We say the Aisha, the Prophet read on his bed, yes, in front of Sayyidah Aisha. Prophet.
Saudi, I guess you're okay.
Saudi.
When you're
In the
there's people like say the masjid lying down or something.
You can still find a nice place to pray. Find a pillar there as well. Go for it. I had to think what manji was then. Do we have one in the UK? That's a cut, isn't it? It's better to read on the ground. Better to read on the ground, but it shouldn't be. If you do pray on it, it shouldn't be soft. That your head sinks it. What are they like?
Like ropes, ropes.
Yeah. You'll have to balance on it first. So you have to look into it. It has to be hard enough for you to pray on. Okay. Next masla is to wipe your forehead from dust within namaz though. Especially when that dust is not harming you. This is makruh to do. Just let the dust be. Okay. To read salah in such a way that you appoint surahs for it, with the belief that if you don't read these surahs, my salah will not be done. Yes? You understand that? We did it in the back as well.
What about wiping sweat?
Wiping sweat's okay. If it's for ease, that you just know what you're reading, that's fine. But to have this belief that if I don't read these particular surahs, my namaz is not done. I told you the example about Eid. Sometimes the elders do it. That if you don't read Sabbih Isma Rabbika Al-A'la in the first rakat and Hal Ataka Hadithul Ghashi in the second rakat, because it's sunnah to read, isn't it? They'll say that this Eid namaz has not been done. Yes? So to read it with such a belief is wrong and it's makruh. So if the Imam goes, I have to read these surahs, to a point that he goes there and he's about to read the next, after Surah Fatiha, surah, and he all of a sudden says, Qul huwallahu ahad. And then he's like, Astaghfirullah. And start the namaz again. That's wrong to do. I mean, you just carry on then. Tarku ittikhazi sutratin, to not take a sutra. What's a sutra? Huh? Yeah, a screen, a barrier. So if you're reading in a place where you feel that people will pass by you, then it's makruh for you to not take a barrier. Yes? So you should always do that. And the next chapter is on the sutra. The sutra is easy. That is mustahab for you to take the sutra. And the length of it should be like half an arm length. Okay. And or more. And the thickness of it should be like the small finger. The size of the thickness and the fatness of whatever you use should be like the thickness of your small finger. So stick can do, can't it? So you can just establish that in front of you and people then can pass in front of you. What's sorry? Chair, anything will do. Yes, anything can work. So the sunnah is that you establish that and place that sutra in front of you in such a way that it's close to you and it's not directly in front of you though. So it's either closer to your right eyebrow or closer to your left eyebrow, whichever way.
Just
Yes?
slightly to the right.
Yes, slightly, meaning you're not directly in front of it. Why? Because that resembles you worshipping it. So you rather just move towards the side. So if, for example, we're here and the sutra goes here, and you're like, oh, no, he's directly in front, I can't walk past. No, you can walk past him. You understand what I mean? So if somebody's got a pillar here, and he's reading namaz right here, so I'm facing, but if I was to draw a line, I won't be touching that pillar.
What if there's someone praying in front, someone in front of him who's not praying?
That's fine.
But he's not.
He's a sutra as well. He's a sutra for you.
Just don't tell him.
Just don't tell him. You can't tell him you're in salah. He's a sutra for you. So if you're reading here and there's a person in front of you, people can pass by in front of him. That's fine. So if he doesn't find anything to establish in front of him, then what should he do? And he knows that people will pass by from here. So what he should do is, he should make a line in the ground. Some said it should be straight, some said it should be like a crescent. So just make a line like that in front of you, and people can now walk past you.
Could you do that on carpet as well?
Carpet as well, yeah. Is mustahab to let the passerby go. Don't fight with him.
With like a visible line, or the fact that you just drawn a line there?
Just draw a line so that it's
that it's
visible to the other person, not invisible. So you know that not to pass.
Yeah, don't think
Or grab a marker and you don't know.
just take your finger and
You'll find something in the masjid, don't worry. If you have been given leave to stop him, so if somebody is about to pass by you, you have been given leave to stop him, as in say, stop him with your hand, yes, or do tasbih loudly. This is for men, by the way, not women. And it's makruh to combine between both of them. So you either stop him with your hand like that, or you say Allahu Akbar or something. You can't do both of them though. Or you can raise your voice. You can raise your voice with your recitation. So you carry on with your namaz and just read a bit louder. As for a woman, she should, she can fight him in terms of put her arm out. Or she can do tasfiq. Tasfiq is clap. We don't clap like this in Islam, okay? The sisters clap would be like this. Okay? That's how you clap. So your hands will be here, won't they? Yeah. So all you do is hit the back of your hand in that manner. And a lady should not raise her voice. Okay? She should not raise her voice. No, you don't need to. If this is for passing, they're passing by. Yeah. Obviously, children, it doesn't really affect your salah in that. The reason for not raising the voice here is for other reasons. Yes, as in fitna reasons. Okay, which they use here. Males can't control themselves, so so that's why. He's wrote here لأنه فتنة. لأنه فتنة. But it's too broad. وَلَا يُقَاتِلُ الْمَارَ. You can't wage war against the passerby. You can't declare war. This was permissible. In the starting of Islam, the Prophet ﷺ used to tell the Sahaba Ikram, if a person is about to walk past you in namaz, yes, you can declare war against him. Start fighting him. Yes? But there was a reason behind it. Because the Sahaba Ikram, remember, they had come from a background with these, like salah didn't really exist in. So the importance, to build the importance of salah in their hearts, this is why the Prophet allowed something like this. That you can't walk past the person who's praying. So they honor the prayer. Yes? And then once all the Sahaba knew of it, and now when even new people were coming, yes, they were seeing how the previous earlier Sahaba Ikram were behaving around salah. They would automatically pick up on it. So then the Prophet ﷺ changed the hukam. Yes? That you can't fight the person who is walking past you now. Now, so you might find in hadith where the Prophet ﷺ has said this. So we say this ta'wil, and that ta'wil is that it used to be permissible, but it has been abrogated. It has been, meaning the hukam has finished. The hukam has finished. Any questions?
Someone said, is it half an arm's length for the body or arm's length?
As
The book says arm's length.
yeah, it is half an ounce, because zira is used generally from the fingertip to the elbow. In measures, that is. When they use it for measurement, it's used from fingertip to elbow. But when we say zira in Arabic as a limb, we use it from the fingertip to the shoulder. Okay? When it's used as a measure, it's the opposite.
No, fingertip to the elbow.
No more questions? Go for it. For you or the? It should be in front of you so that you can easily prostrate. Okay? So you can easily prostrate. So wherever you prostrate, just in front of that. That's how it should be. If you think people are going to walk past you, you don't need to put it all the way in the fifth row. Yes. You don't want to do that. But as for you asked the question, is it for you or the prayer mat? Yes? You are the prayer mat at the moment. Yes? The prayer mat is you, meaning as when you prostrate and the amount of space that you need. We'll stop on that one then. Anybody learn the Arabic? We were meant to do Arabic first, but we forgot. What did we do last? This is when they all look at me and said, we're going. I gave you the structure of a sentence, didn't I? Yes? Where I said that the first part of the sentence will be a thing called ma'rifah, generally. Will be a thing called ma'rifah. What's ma'rifah? Specific noun. And nakira? General noun. So if I said something like al-himaru saghirun. Al-himaru saghirun. What does that mean? Oops. That donkey. That's like an insult. The donkey is small. And I gave you two words as well that make up the sentence. What they called? Meaning what's this called and what's this called? This is called mubtada. What's it called? Yes. A sentence which starts with a noun will have two parts to it, and you have to work those two parts out to get your translation correct. Yes? If you want your translation to be correct, you have to work out those two parts. We normally call it musnad and musnad ilayh, but for now we call it mubtada and khabar. Mubtada and khabar. So the first part is mubtada. Second part is khabar. Once you work those out, in your translation, you know where to put is. Is. You know where to put is. For example, we know al-himar is mubtada. This is all mubtada. So we can say the donkey is. So where the mubtada finishes, you can add the word is in English. And then after that, you just translate it. Saghir means small. The donkey is small. That makes sense? If I say al-hisanu kabirun, al-hisanu kabirun, the horse is big. So what's the mubtada in this? Horse. What's the khabar? The big. Big. Okay. And where do we put is in the translation then? After what word? The horse. The horse is. What's ma'rifah in this? Which word is ma'rifah from those two? Al-Hisan. Why is Al-Hisan ma'rifah? How though? Everything has a sign. Al. Yes. Al. The al made it specific. And kabir is what then? Ma'rifah of nakira? Nakira. Yes? Nakira. And is nakira because of the tanween. The two fish that come at the end. But be careful with that tanween, because tanween can sometimes come upon people's names. Zaydun. Zaydun. Yes? What's your name? Wasimun. What's your name? Abbasun. Abrarun. Shafiqun. Abdul. That's a hard one. That'll be Abdullah. Is it Abdullah? Abdullah. Yes, that's different. That doesn't get it. Yes? Arfan. Arfanun. Jamil. Jamilun. Danish. Danish is not big. But we'll make it Danishun. Okay. Girls' names are hard, as in they won't get it. Okay. For example, if you take Sadia, it won't get tanween at the end. Sadia tu. There won't be alif lam in the starting, and there won't be a tanween at the end. Who knows why? Say, anybody know? No? Your brothers run off. It's called ghair munsarif, but that's a very hard concept to understand. We won't talk about that today. Yeah, it's called ghair munsarif. In ghair munsarif, you have to have a few causes for it not to accept a tanween. So ghair munsarif are words which do not accept a tanween or a kasra, a zair. Yes? So and then for example, if you take Sadia. Sadia is, if it's a girl's name, so it has the reason of a name and then it's feminine. Yes? So those are two reasons that do not allow it to accept a tanween nor a kasra. Does that make sense? For example, you might hear in hadith, an Aishata. Yes? The an is a particle which normally gives a kasra to the next word. So you normally if it was like Zaid after it, you say an Zaidin. Yes? The an gives it the din at the end. But when a girl's name comes after it in such a way, It can't do that because of the two reasons we told you. It's a name and it's feminine. Okay, but we'll do that later on. It's a hard concept. So you've understood here as the first part of this, we call it Jumla Ismiya. What do we call this? Make a note of that. Jumla Ismiya. So if a sentence is if any sentence, it starts with a noun and it has mubtada in the starting and khabar at the end, this is called Jumla, nominal sentence Ismiya. Yes? And this one we call Khabariya. If a sentence starts with a noun, yes, then this is called Jumla Ismiya. Okay, and this one is called Jumla Ismiya Khabariya for now. And in Jumla Ismiya, the first part is called Mubtada and the second part is called Khabar. Mubtada means starting. Yeah, but you just look at it as a term. Look at it as a term. As in that it's a term in Arabic grammar to say that this is a sentence, a nominal sentence, a sentence that starts with the noun. Okay, and the khabar is the news then, isn't it?
So it's a verbal sentence then.
Verbal sentence will be different. We'll do that another time. Okay. Right, next week I'm going to learn this, and then next week I'm going to turn you back towards your Arabic grammar. Yes? And see how much of it you remember, and I'm going to give you a few more gardans. Yeah. We'll do this as well with it, but then we'll also pick up. I'll only give you one or two, so that you carry that on as well. Okay? So that then it makes sense. Just as a group like we do. Okay, you can find them online. You can pick up on it. Not online, sorry, on the recordings. So you can pick up on those lessons. Yes. It's easy. We haven't been doing much of it. It's just little tasters we've been giving, so you'll pick up on it really quickly. Yeah, sure. But it's not much. I can probably even cover it in 5 minutes. Okay. It's really easy.
Yeah, as an English teacher, I thought this would be easy, but I think I find it more confusing.
So we'll do that as well, and then we do this. I'm only trying to give you tasters of it. That's why it might feel a bit confusing. Okay, but when we set up the next course, then it'll be full on, and then you'll have to understand it. And it won't be like this though. Yeah, it'll be more detailed. So when we finish this one. You can. It's still good for you to cover it. There's nothing wrong with you coming in and covering it. Yes. They're not hard for you to cover. Even when you come for the next session, you could probably just learn that as well. Yes? It still makes sense to you. It won't be like it won't make sense. It'll make sense to you, inshallah. Okay? It'll make sense to you, not the class that's been coming. So we'll do those. I think we got up to, in the other one we got to huruf nasba, didn't we? Did we do huruf jazma? No, we're going to do huruf jazma then. Okay? Huruf jazma. Here we're trying to build up on your structure of the sentence. Yes? And build up your vocabulary. Yes? And on the other side, we're trying to build up on you recognizing the words. Okay? So when we do this, I want you to recognize, work on your vocabulary. Yes? And when we do the other one, the gardan, and recognize the actual words and what they consist of. So these are two things that you are doing. We don't normally teach it like this. I just added this in because I was seeing blank faces for good 3-4 weeks. So we'll move back to that inshallah ta'ala. We'll stop there.